Hello, everybody. Oh, looks like we are live here today at the Girls in STEAM event. We're just gonna give a couple, maybe a few, 20 seconds or so for folks to trickle in. How many folks do we have today, Faith, so far in like the last 10 seconds? All right. Hello, welcome to cybersecurity. My name is Tam, and I'll be the host for today's panel. I would just like to begin by gratefully acknowledging that Science World is located on the traditional and unceded lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. So we're going to start today with me as your host. If you didn't hear my introduction, my name is Tam, and we have lovely mentors today. They're amazing, and they're going to be answering your questions if you have any questions related to their field or yeah, anything at all. Now, you can always write your questions in the chat, and I'll try to get to them, share them with our amazing mentors. But first, let's introduce all of the folks who will be speaking today. Well, first of all, we have Faith. Faith is not speaking with us, but she is our technician, and so you might hear us mentioning Faith's name. She'll be monitoring the chat. So if you have any technical issues at all, Faith is also happy to assist you. And we ask that you keep comments in the chat and the questions respectful and relevant to the topic. So the topic is cybersecurity. Now, let's meet our mentors then. Let's start by going around and doing a brief introduction before we jump into those questions. So we have our mentors here with us today. Can I get each of you to let us know your name, your job title, and what do you love the most about your job? So let's start with Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily Mckee. I currently live on the unceded and traditional territories of the Lekwungen people in Victoria. I grew up in Vancouver Island, and I am of blended Indigenous and settler ancestry. For my job title, I currently work as the System Administrator and Compliance Officer for RaceRox 3D, a tech company in Victoria. This means that I'm responsible for all things IT and security. I also have a background of a Bachelor of Engineering from the University of Victoria, specializing in biomedical engineering. One of the things I love most about my job is that I can work from wherever I want to. And in fact, I once worked from a sailboat when my power went out at home. So definitely, I love the flexibility of my job.
That is awesome. I love that flexibility for you as well. Thanks for sharing, Emily. Our next mentor, Arbiza, would you be able to introduce yourself, your job title, and what you love most about your job?
Thank you, Tam. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the cybersecurity session. My name is Arbiza Jamaluddin. I am a certified privacy professional, and I work at Privacy Horizon, which is based in Toronto. It is a consulting firm in privacy and cybersecurity. My title, I am a business development plus privacy analyst. Basically, my role is to engage with people, create awareness, and making sure that everybody's safe with their privacy, data privacy. And what I like most about my job is meeting wonderful people and learning about startup companies and helping them grow with a good privacy and security program. Thank you, Tam.
Thank you so much for sharing. And next, one of our mentors, we have Dasha. Would you be able to share your job title, your name, as well as what you love most about your job?
Yeah, I'm Dasha. I am currently in the process of finishing up my Bachelor's of Computing Science at SFU in Vancouver. in the process, I've done 3 co-op jobs, and I got experience doing DevOps and release management, and most recently in firmware engineering. But yeah, what I love most about my job is all the opportunities to learn. In every job I've done so far, everyone has been super helpful and willing to answer questions, and it feels like a great place to just learn and learn as much as you can. So I hope that this conference does the same.
Thank you, Dasha. I love that everyone has different backgrounds and different expertise and different stages of careers in their life. So let's have time now for open questions. So if you have any questions for any of our mentors, please write it in the chat and we'll try to get to those questions. Yeah. But it looks like right now we don't have any questions coming from you. So maybe I'll start us off. So we talked about everyone's favorite part about their job. Let's see. Let's talk about your biggest challenges in your field or your industry or maybe in your role. And any of the mentors, you're also welcome to jump in and comment if you have any, similar experiences as someone else who's speaking about it. Yeah, so if anyone has any biggest challenges they'd like to share about their industry or role.
I think cybersecurity in general, really big challenge is that the attacks are evolving like every single day as time goes on, and with more and more companies working remotely now, like that attack surface area just grows exponentially. And so one of the biggest problems is we need more people in cybersecurity. Just jumping right in there. And yeah, we need people that have different backgrounds and experiences and viewpoints in order to effectively address the cybersecurity threats. So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest challenges right now from my perspective.
I second Emily's words there. It is so true. We actually that's the greatest challenge, not having enough expertise and experienced professionals to help out. Mostly people that's experienced, they prefer to start their own company and do consulting. But for people that want to get into cybersecurity and to get a job in cybersecurity with the lack of, there's a gap. What I'm trying to say is there's a gap between the experienced cybersecurity professional and the entry level. So obviously it's easy, it's challenging to not getting the right expertise for certain challenges that we are facing in the real world. So I would encourage for you, our audience, who very creative and would love to learn about cybersecurity and coding and programming and all that, please take a step back and think about those talent that you have and which area of cybersecurity that you would like to channel, because it's such a broad area. But still, I'm here to help if you need some advice on holding your hand on which career to take. So Emily, you are in cybersecurity. I'm in privacy, but I might be wrong. Please correct me, because there's a lot of different angle to get into cybersecurity, correct?
Yeah, and cybersecurity, that's like one of the things that surprised me most with getting into the industry, is that there are so many different aspects of it, ranging from like technically like positions where you need a lot of like technical background, like what Dasha is doing with her degree and experience, to more like on the policy side and management as well. So, I mean, from what I've seen, anyone can get into cybersecurity, like no matter what your background is. So, yeah, that's right what you're saying.
I guess just to jump in here, at this stage of my career, probably the most challenging bit is just the technical interviews in the first place, since I'm doing many different co-op jobs. And I'm actually curious to know, in your experience, Emily and Arbiza, did you find that cybersecurity interviews were different in some way to other technical interviews that you've done, if there have been any? I know for me, each technical interview would have specific questions on a programming language or a different project that you've done, but I'm curious to know if there's something else unique about those interviews.
I think so. I have friends in work as developers as well, and like you said, like the interviews are super technical and like oriented around like programming languages and stuff typically. But in my experience, cybersecurity, it really depends on like what the company is looking for, like what type of position you're looking for. But it really focused more on like critical thinking, problem solving approach, more like that, like general, like how do you tackle a problem, like, and yeah, more broadly on that side of things.
From my experience, because I just, before I answer your question, Dasha, I just want to make sure that our audience understand the difference between privacy and security, because I want you guys to think about a house. Since we are I just learned about the age group that we have. Okay, think about a house, and let's say you are at your window and your front door is locked and you have fence outside of your house. That's the security. That is security to take care, to safeguard your property. But if you are in your house and by the window and you don't want your privacy to be invaded, you can close the curtain. So I hope that helps, because privacy and security, they are two different things. It's not together. We are like siblings. We actually supposed to be hand in hand. So to answer your question, my background is in sales and client relation, but because I'm so passionate about privacy, about how to protect our privacy has your territorial privacy, your public affairs privacy, and your physical privacy, and your data privacy, right? So I'm so passionate about that, and I have to go back to school to get my certification to become a privacy professional. So I'm good in sales. I can sell anything, a house, I can sell a car, I can sell environmental stuff, whatever. But I'm so passionate about privacy, and I want to make sure that my talent is channeled into helping people to protect their privacy. And for my interview, my my job requirement, I need to be good in sales. I need to have experience and client relation, but at the same time, I need to be a qualified privacy professional to take care of this in my position right now. So not too much of the technical part, but now since I am in the privacy and security consulting firm, I'm learning both. I learned about penetration testing. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's like being an ethical hacker. And I learned about how to do assessment. I learned about how to do readiness assessment, making sure that company have some, the 10 principles of privacy, like consent, accountability, what kind of data you collected, especially for young age like you guys, a lot of social media. So yeah, just need to be careful. Back to you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your challenges or difficulties in your field. I really like that you all jump in and are mentoring each other in a way. So yeah, speaking of, all those different security breaches and things like that, would you be able to share with folks maybe what is one of which is one of your memorable cybersecurity uh, things that you had to tackle? Yeah, like an example of, I don't know the exact technical term, but when there's a breach or something like that, if you can remember one that you could share with folks. Emily.
I'm thinking. I guess I'll speak to one of my first ever like cybersecurity incidents in my career. We do like a lot of like cloud computing and host some of our servers in the cloud. Oh, I don't know if I should speak about this. But yeah, no, it's just a really stressful event dealing with like DDoS attacks and what is a botnet. It's used. I don't know if you're familiar with DDoS attacks, but it's when one bad actor hijacks, takes control of, for anywhere from like 10 to hundreds of computers, and uses all those resources to attack one specific target to like bring their services down or for whatever purpose. And it's a stressful event for like any company, and everyone needs to be prepared to handle that. We weren't the target of one, but we had to like fend off being a part of one, of a botnet. And being like new in the industry, not having experienced like this kind of like significant problem before, I found success in the fact that I was definitely prepared for the incident ahead of time by having like a plan. When this happens, this is the team that I gather who have different experiences, different expertise, and this is what each of our roles and responsibilities are. And I lead like what we do, and like we figure out what happened, what's affected, how can we stop that immediately, and then how do we make sure it doesn't happen again. So that's not everyone has to deal with that in cybersecurity, but if you're on like the front lines, it can be you do have to have a cool head to manage these stressful events and lead your team through to make sure that you're successful, and that you take care of your teammates too, because they can get tough. Those been the more like serious event that I've dealt with, and I learned something from each experience. So
Yeah, that sounds very stressful, but that's amazing that your team and you pulled it together. Ariza, did you want to add to that, like on any sort of serious incident you might have had to handle, and any advice on that?
I not directly with the company, but through personal experience, if that related, I was okay. Another reason why I'm in privacy right now, because of personal experience. It happened to me twice. With one is RBC Bank, where somebody took over my RBC account, and I was not being aware at that point. It was many years ago, and you're not aware, and you thought, oh, this is legit. And then somebody take over your RBC Bank account. I was like, what? So this is it. That triggered a point. Another one was Microsoft. Can you imagine Microsoft? I know. I almost paid with my credit card because they want me to renew my membership or something. So those are personal experience. I almost wanted to pay, but I know deep in my heart that something is not right. And finally, it came to my senses that, okay, I'm not going to pay you. I was talking to these people. I said, I'm not going to pay you. I just take away all my Wi-Fi connection and just shut down everything. And I was like, okay, I need to fight all this because this is wrong and it's not ethical. So that's one of the reasons why I am in privacy and also security right now. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, that must have been scary. Microsoft and like a bank, you would usually trust those institutions. So it's really scary that there are folks who pretend to be, these institutions that we usually trust. But that's really
They
cool.
they made me change my password.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, because it's really from RBC Bank, like really, and I thought was real. And after I did that, I went straight to RBC Bank and said, somebody's hacking into my account. I was panicked. Sorry.
No, yeah, that is scary, and I'm glad that you're able to get your account back. Um, Dasha, did you also have any, sort of serious incident that had to do with cybersecurity that you can remember and you want to share, and what you learned from
Uh,
it?
yeah, I haven't had too much experience with cybersecurity specifically, um, but it did remind me of a funny story where I realized one day my keyboard was acting weird and it felt like someone was typing. And it turned out it was connected to a different wireless keyboard and someone else was trying to get their keyboard to work. So I guess that's to say that sometimes you can come across a scenario and be super paranoid and think, oh my goodness, something's happening. And then it turns out to be something simple. So I think this is definitely one of those fields where you have to look at the whole picture and all the different aspects because otherwise you you get very paranoid and very scared all the time. I think.
That is really funny. I guess the keyboard was like close by to your place, like the
Yeah,
connection.
it was a coworker just on the other side. We were
Ah,
both
I see.
muttering, trying to figure out what was happening, and it turned out to be related. Um, so I guess another piece of advice is make sure your keyboard's connected.
Thanks, Dasha. And that was really good advice with looking at the whole picture and, having a positive spin on the field and some of the challenges that you might face. We have maybe about less than 10 minutes. So let's check the chat and see if there are any questions from folks. Looks like there are none right now, but that's okay. Let's keep going. Ooh, we talked about also some advice, like, looking at the big picture. Does anyone have any specific advice they'd like to share to our attendees from Girls in STEAM, following, uh, their passion in any STEAM related field or in your field specifically? If you could go back in time and tell your 15-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be? Let's start with Emily. Sorry, I keep picking on you, Emily.
That's fine. Yeah, if I were 14 and thinking about getting into cybersecurity, I wish I would not have known that I think it's mentioned before, but cybersecurity is a very broad industry, and to just go check it out, go learn more about it. One of my favorite resources for learning more, and I literally use it almost every day, is YouTube. There's something out there for every part of cybersecurity, and it's a great resource. Um, if you're interested in like the technical side of things, try to learn new skills. Just work on like general computer skills, programming. Like there's tons of like online resources for like fun ways to learn programming, even like Minecraft. Like I, as an adult, I play Minecraft, and I think it's a great resource for in using like different mods. You can learn programming, or ethical hacking. So like white hat hacking, interesting as well. So like, uh, just go check it out. It's not necessarily about education or years of experience. Like definitely, a good education will take you a long way, but in cybersecurity, a lot of what you need is self-directed study and lots of trial and error. So just go play with it and have fun with it. I strongly believe that intense curiosity is a big driver of success in any role, but especially cybersecurity. So go read about it, do, try, and make mistakes. And last of all, also find a mentor because that can be life changing. I had a mentor all the way from high school through university, and even now today we're still in touch. She is an engineer, and at the time when she graduated from UVic, she was one of the only 2 women in her program to graduate that year. So to having her be my mentor and show me like what's possible has absolutely had a huge impact on my life. So I would definitely recommend to find a mentor.
Thank you, Emily. That's really nice. Arpaisa, did you have any advice you'd like to give to any of the Girls in STEAMs folks?
My advice is don't get married too young. Just kidding. Sorry, Tam. Can you please repeat your question?
Yeah, of course. If you could give advice to, pretend that you're to your 15-year-old self, your 16-year-old self, what kind of advice would you give in regards to, following their career or education or, yeah?
I would say the same thing with Emily. Sorry, Emily, I'm picking your line here. Just be curious. That's helped so much for you to grow. And even with myself, right now, or when I'm 15 years old, to me, not to be in your comfort zone too long. You know what I mean? If you already know how to do certain things, move on and learn something that you don't know and make mistakes. So that's how you grow. That's how you improve yourself. That's how you develop yourself, and be uncomfortable. So if you think that you already know how to do algebra, okay, you're perfect. So what's next? So keep challenging yourself that way. To me, that's important, to have that drive and be a people person. Try to connect with people. That is so. Not a lot of people have that skill, especially people in IT. I'm sorry. I'm just saying because from my experience. Because we are so into our coding, programming, making, so into the zone. Sometimes we forgot the people's skill. We forgot how to communicate in an effective way. Sometimes I feel I'm saying something, but other people think, oh, why are you attacking me? Why you say, you know what I mean? So those are skills that is so important for you. Communication and be uncomfortable to grow. So that helps, I hope. Thank you, Tam.
Thank you. Yeah, staying curious, challenging yourself, and communication skills definitely important. Do you have anything to add, Dasha? I know you're a student yourself currently.
Yeah. No, both Emily and Arpaisa brought up really great points. I'd also like to add that I think the getting started in computer programming and cybersecurity has probably never been easier than right now. There's so many free resources online, like YouTube, Emily mentioned, but also courses like Udemy or Khan Academy. Those are great websites. Even attending or watching this video itself is like you're already getting your foot in the door and going to workshops. So I think anything you manage to find is helpful. Yeah, I know when I was in high school, we didn't really have a computer programming class, but I know that's popular now, and it's actually a course being offered. So um, just finding those opportunities and just giving them a try. I know for myself, I didn't think I was going to go towards computer programming, and I just so happened to come across it. And as a result, I found more and more resources getting into it. So yeah, just being able to try things out and yeah, being uncomfortable with it and asking lots of questions. I think that's another thing I want to mention is that the stereotype of you have to be a super genius or a computer programmer from the gods or something. That's not true anymore. It's all just regular people trying their best, asking questions and making mistakes. So yeah, the barrier for entry is much lower than it used to be, which is great because we can have lots of diverse people joining.
And don't forget to have fun. That's important too, right?
Yeah, Dasha, you brought up some really good points. Like we mentioned before, like cybersecurity is an ever-growing industry, and we need new people like all the time. So if you ever get into cybersecurity, you'll have excellent job security. So it's cybersecurity is in everything that we do. Anything that touches the internet needs cybersecurity. So, but yeah, Dasha, you brought up some really good points.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you all for sharing all these amazing pieces of advice. I will definitely carry that on in my life as well, even if I'm not working in cybersecurity. But I think it's just wonderful to have that mindset. So thank you all for sharing that. Looks like we have maybe a couple more minutes before we have to wrap up. Does anyone have any questions for each other that you'd like to, ask? Before we say our goodbyes.
Nothing comes to mind for me, but it's been a pleasure talking with you guys tonight and hearing about your stories.
Yeah, I agree. It's always great to meet people in the same industry and kind of hear where they came from and how they got to the position they're in, because it feels like everyone takes a different path. So yeah, it was lovely to meet you guys.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I learned a lot actually from Emily and Dasha, even from Tam. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, it looks like we actually have a little bit more time than we anticipated. We have about 8 minutes left. So I know we just said our goodbyes, but now we're going to awkwardly shimmy back and have some more questions. I'm so sorry that I preemptively started wrapping up so soon. Speaking of actually how you all got to your roles, I know you talked about your favorite parts of your roles and things. I'm curious, but I'm curious to know because Dasha, you mentioned that you kind of happened to come across computer science. Like, would each of you be able to share like the story of how you started, in this field?
Yeah, I can jump in. So in high school, I thought I was going to do mechanical engineering. And then stuff happened, didn't follow through. So I took a semester off and I was working at the Hudson's Bay actually. And I remember thinking back to when I did a volunteering position at a place called Free Geek. They take old computers, and dismantle them, and then they can build new computers from the parts. And then they install Linux on it. They help you set it up, and then it's basically to give a cheap alternative to buying computers. But I remember the volunteers there really inspired me because they were so good at troubleshooting. They just seemed to be computer wizards. They knew everything about it, and it was something that interested me. But I think in high school, I didn't think it was something that I could do. But I remember just applying to a BCIT program that was 2 years and thinking, I'll give it a shot. If they accept me, great. If not, I'll try something else. And then I ended up doing it and I loved it. And it led to lots of different co-op jobs and the bachelor I'm doing now. And I can't wait to see what job I get in the future. But yeah, it feels like there were many different decisions made to get to this point, and I'm pretty happy about it.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your story, Dasha. Arviza or Emily, would you like to share how your pathway to your role now?
Okay, yes. I studied computer science a long time ago when there's Turbo C, Pascal. So don't guess my age. But I am not very technical, guys. I'm sorry. I tried. I tried programming and doing all those algorithm. Just it's not for me. I'm a people person, as you can see. Sorry if I've been too expressive, but I I get into sales, and that's my talent, my strength. And now I find my purpose with being in privacy, which actually kind of now going back towards the computer science and privacy, which is great. So I'm very happy. So that's my pathway from computer science to get to sales, business development. And with my privacy certification, I am now in the field. And who knows, probably I'll go back to computer science. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I love how we're always learning, and moving around. No pathway is ever linear. So thank you for sharing that. And Emily, how about you? Would you like to share a story before we wrap up our session?
Yeah, for sure. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do in high school. I had no clue. Yeah, and then I had, I was volunteering in like hospitals, thinking I was maybe going to get into healthcare. Really no idea. Then I had a teacher in high school, and he inspired me to go into engineering. So I went to UVic, and I did their Bachelor of Engineering program, specializing in biomedical engineering, of all things. So, I've done work in research labs in neural tissue engineering, and I've been published in a journal on some of the work that I've done. But I also had co-op programs that I did, and the biomedical program is really competitive, and I wanted to stay in Victoria, so I ended up working for the Department of National Defence in Victoria at their fleet maintenance facility at their IT help desk, and I really liked it. And I kept working there, and I worked in different positions. I moved from IT to working with the developers, helping them release their applications and like their technical writing. Um, and then I went back and finished my degree, and then I got a job offer right out of university for this same position, but managing the co-op program that I was once a part of and managing their help desk. So I went back, and I loved my work there. I loved, the job. It was different every day, but eventually I decided that government wasn't for me. And so I took another leap of faith, and I applied for the job that I have now. So if you told me 10 years ago when I was in high school that I'd be working in cybersecurity for a high-tech company in Victoria, no, I would have no idea. I wouldn't have believed you. um, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a twisty path, but I wouldn't be where I am today without all of those experiences. So, yeah, I love my job.
Well, that's so amazing. Thank you all for sharing such inspiring stories. It was such a pleasure to meet everybody. Yeah, I had a great time listening to all of your advice and your stories. So thank you so much for joining us, our lovely mentors. Thank you so much. And thank you for folks who joined us today and listened in. We just remember that there are more sessionings happening today on Thursday, as well as Saturday. So be sure to plan what sessions you want to attend, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.